Hello, this is RCKY, the Android guy. Hey guys, today we're bringing another video, and that is what should Sony do in 2014. Now this is Sony Mobile, so talking about the Xperias, tablets, and all that kind of stuff, not in PS4, which I will be getting later on this year as soon as we have some games. But I digress. So what should Sony do in 2014? Sony really hasn't made that much of an impression on Android, and I feel it's because it's really a side project of theirs. They're concentrating on their movie industry, on their computers more so, and they're really concentrating on other things, but they haven't made that much of a concentration on their mobile side. I feel that it really is like a side project of theirs. But this is what I feel they should do. First off, let's kick it off with what we expect to see at CES or at MWC, the early part of 2014, and that is the smartwatch 3. Now, Sony was one of the pioneers of smartwatches. They have had, this will be their fourth one, even though it's called the 3. They had one called Live View originally, which was two, 2 years, 2 years ago. Then 1 year ago, they had their Sony smartwatch. This past year, they had their Sony Smartwatch 2, and now they're going to come out with their 3. Now, what should they do? Well, the main thing, I mean, it wasn't a bad smartwatch, Sony Smartwatch 2. I just think compared to the Gear and why I kept the Gear and why I did not keep the Sony Smartwatch was one of the main things I didn't like about the Sony Smartwatch was the fact that I didn't like the fact that I couldn't make calls. That was really one thing that once I had it on the Gear, I did not want to let go of. It's just like, no, I should be able to do this. I have been able to do this. Why not? And I think that was a big thing that I did love about the Gear that the Sony should have. Sony should have this in the third one, is being able to make and receive calls. It's also easier with text messages than just a quick response that you can do on the text messages as well. The other thing is their interface has to be unique. It can't just try to be like Android on a smartwatch. I think that that sounds cool and everything, and to geeks like me that rooted these and all that kind of stuff, it's fun. But it really is nice when you have like an interface made for a smartwatch, and that's one thing that I do give credit for the Gear that it had. So I do think that Sony should definitely do that. Make an interface for smartwatches. I mean, I like the swiping, the double tap, the going back by going down. All these kind of things were very natural. Once I got used to it, it just was second nature to me. So it really made the learning curve very easy. And the third thing is it needs to be lightweight. I would never run with the Sony smartwatch. I would have it as like, when I go out to a nice dressy occasion, but that metal feel on it made it very heavy. Like I could not go out jogging with that. It just wouldn't, it didn't feel right. It was very heavy. And it's just kind of like, this is the dressy watch, not necessarily the all-around watch, which I feel the Gear fits better. That it's, because of its materials, it can be the runner's watch, and it could be the dressy watch. I feel it can be both. And that's one thing that I just feel I want to see from Sony, a lighter weight watch. Now, as for the Xperia Z or Z, whatever you want to call it, 2, that will be coming out, and I'm assuming will be their flagship device, have it be a global launch. I mean, I can't tell you that how weirded I was last year at CES. I was so excited when the Z1 was announced. Then the Z1 was announced in CES, and the US didn't get it till I think it was July, and it only was at T-Mobile. And if you went to an AT&T, Verizon, or Sprint, they had no idea about it. They were like, "What are you talking about? Sony doesn't have a smartphone." It's just, or they had the old one, the Xperias Arcs and all that kind of stuff. So really, I would say I don't know if Sony has trouble buying in. That's why some of these manufacturers, like they make sure that they have a lot of phones. If you don't understand why like Samsung, LG, and HTC make multiple phones, sometimes it's just a defense, so that Sony can't bring in their phone, or LG can't bring in their phone, or Samsung can't bring in their phone. It's just a defense because these carrier stores can only have so many phones on the floor, so sometimes it's more of a defense mechanism. But so that's the thing that I would say is that try to get on all carriers or at least 3 carriers. I mean, if you can't get Verizon, or if you can't get AT&T, or at least be on more than one carrier, because only having T-Mobile was, I mean, it wasn't bad. It did well there, but no one really knew about it. And by the time it came out, too, it was outdated. It really had, Nexus 4 specs at a time when it was only like 2 months or 3 months away from the Nexus 5. So I just feel that it was on its way out when it should be when it came out. So hopefully, if they do announce the Z2, at MWC or wherever they announce it, or even if they just use the Z1 to bring it to the US, then let's make it a all carrier or global launch. It will make a better impact. Then most people will want it more. And I think it'll also help your Sony smartwatch sales. If you plan on selling the smartwatch with the Xperia Z, I mean, look, Samsung had it at all carriers. It was able to sell both of them because they were available on all of them. So it'll make it better all around for your ecosystem. Second thing, Sony has one of the best things that they have not used yet, and they made a really bad attempt at it in Verizon a couple years ago. And that was they did the Xperia Play. You have PlayStation games. You can bring that to an Android device. Why haven't you done it? I mean, you can bring like games, you can license, you can get games like your old Crash Bandicoot, things like that, and all that kind of stuff. Instead of people having to do it through emulators, you can actually bring it to your phones and your tablets, and that will cause a lot of gamers to take a serious look at your device. But I mean, when that was promised with the Xperia Play a couple of years ago, you never delivered. It was like, why? Why wasn't it delivered? And you can even make it work with Bluetooth with your PS4 controller. I mean, Sony has such an opportunity with that I do not know why they've never taken advantage of it. If they made an Xperia Z2 with, the latest Snapdragon graphics card and processor and made it compatible with the PS4 controller to play, just like old school PS1 games. They don't even need to do PS2. Do PS1 games. Do like Tekken 3, do Final Fantasy 7, do Crash Bandicoot, just some of these games, you'll make it killer. You'll just, you will quadruple, if not make so much more than what the Xperias are currently selling if they did something that simple. And why they haven't done it, I really don't know. The graphics is good enough to be able to support all PS1 games, really. I mean, it might have a problem with like Final Fantasy with the videos or something like that, but I mean, you have so many games that you can do that with that it would just be such a benefit for you. And lastly, Xperias are very elegant devices, especially the interface is very elegant. But I feel that something that I told to another manufacturer, you should have an easy mode. You should have something that, because they're elegant, they will attract, again, the iOS users. So if you make something really nice and elegant, well then, if you're trying to attract a high caliber of people, then make an easy mode so it's simple. So when you get on this device, you have less of a learning curve, and then you can get them, and then they can use full Android after that in a really nice way. So that's my advice for the flagship device. Now for tablets. The Xperia 10 is one that I regrettably did not get to really play with a lot this year. And I really wanted to, the Xperia Z, because of how thin and light it was. But one thing that, again, it kind of just fell into that category if it's just another Android tablet. Very light, very thin, waterproof, amazing, but I mean, unless I'm with my tablet in the tub, I don't care about waterproof. So my real thing was that it just was another Asus, another Toshiba, another tablet that I didn't really care about. Now, why is that so important? Because Sony has to make something different. So what I would suggest to Sony is, even if they would make a 7-inch or 8-inch, I think that would sell a lot better for Sony. That same kind of design on the Xperia Z10, make that into a 7-inch tablet, put it at $249, even 8-inch at $299 or something like that. I think it would do very well. I think it would do very well because it's a really nice looking design, but 10-inch tablets are just not as popular as smaller tablets, and especially if you can't be productive with a 10-inch tablet. What I kind of always say now as a rule of thumb, a 10-inch tablet needs to have a keyboard dock to make it more productive, or else why wouldn't I just get like a Surface if I'm looking for productivity? So for that reason is really the reason that I didn't think 10-inch was going to do that well. The only one that really caught my eye this year was the Note, and that was because, of course, it had the pen, it had the split screen, it had all these cool things that I could do with it. Just didn't have the keyboard case. So yeah, so I would really recommend that for Sony. If you're doing a tablet, I would say smaller is probably going to be better for you. And again, try something different that we haven't seen before. Waterproof was a good first start. Let's see something else. Alright, hopefully this helps. And what do you think Sony should do? Please leave that in the comment section down below. What do you think will make them successful in 2014? Alright, if you have any other questions, feel free to ask. This has been RICKY, the Android Guy.